Before you buy individual stocks, I want you to make sure that you do this. Hey, what's going on? This is Maoli Vodi with Financially Present, your one-stop shop for financial and investment education. And in this video, I'm going to talk a little bit about picking individual stocks. So I'm not going to give you any particular recommendations, so just get that out of your head right now, but I'm going to equip you so that you can make those impactful decisions on your own. So you can use this video over and over again to help you with your strategy. And obviously, before you buy individual stocks, I want you to make sure you have some of the boring things set up, like an emergency fund. You have some liquidity available so that you can buy something that you're interested in. And then you also have some long-term investments that are diverse and spread across multiple industries so that you can make sure you're capturing the market, at least the major parts of the market as a whole. After you have done all of that, and you have the liquidity, you have the risk tolerance, you've done some research and you know what you're trying to buy, now I have 10 questions that you need to ask yourself so that you're confident in making this purchase. I think it's perfectly fine if you decide that you want to buy some individual stock to complement your existing strategy. It's something that I do, and it's going to vary from person to person. So I can't tell you that this is exactly the best thing for you without understanding your financial situation. So that's something for your advisor. And if that's something you're interested in, let me know in the comments below and I'll be able to help you out with some additional support. And I have some other videos to support that as well. But here are the 10 questions you need to ask yourself if you are going to buy this particular stock. Number one, does this increase or decrease my risk? When we're talking about buying individual stocks, it could skew your portfolio. It could throw it off balance. It could invite risk that you weren't necessarily looking for, or it can give you more of what's needed in your investment profile, and it could be just the fit. But you have to think about that before you buy it. So before you invite this company into your portfolio, you have to figure out, what is it going to do to it? It's like if you were to add extra salt to a dish that you were cooking. Is that going to make it worse or make it better? It really depends on you. Number two, am I already covered in this field? So this is extremely important because we tend to have a habit of buying things that are exciting and new, and that means technology stocks, and some of them are doing a lot of the same things with a little twist here or there, and there's this race to invent the same thing but quicker than the other person. And you have to ask yourself, do I already own a company that's doing the same exact thing, and they may have bigger staff, bigger research power, a bigger bank to accomplish some of these goals? So think about that. Are you already covered in this field? Think about it before you buy. Number three, am I willing to hold this stock for years to come? So think about it. If you're going to buy and hold this stock, is this a quick fix? Like you're going to buy it and hold it for, a few weeks or a few days? Or is this something that you're going to buy long-term and it's going to complement your long-term strategy? So here, generally, I only talk about long-term strategy because I believe that's what works the best. And if it's a stock that you're buying and you're not sure if you're going to hold it for, a few years, we're talking 5 to 10 years, then take a step back and say, hey, well, do I see a long-term vision for this company? Do I trust the CEO, or do they have a good enough policies for their employees? Is this something that seems like it has a good culture? And there are other sub-questions that are involved with owning a company long-term. So you do have to ask yourself, am I ready to hold this over the long haul? Number four, and this one's one of my favorites, can you find an ETF that already owns this stock? That's one of my better ways to disperse some of that risk and that fear in the company, because it's hard to fully trust these investments. So one way to reduce that is to find an exchange traded fund that will provide some level of balance and diversification so that you don't have to be right about the exact company. You have other buffers, other things to soften the blow if something does happen negatively with this company. So if there's an ETF available, maybe explore that versus buying the individual stock. Number five, what advantage does this give my portfolio? Is this making it better or making it worse? Is it giving me more risk than I'm used to? Or is it something that's increasing my holdings all in the same sector? Like if you're already covered, then why continue to buy the same thing? Unless you know that this is something that you're comfortable with, it's a long-term buy, and it's something that's very helpful and fruitful for your portfolio. But if you're already covered in it, maybe you might be spending additional effort buying something that you already have. Think about it. Number 6, what are some alternatives that I'm not thinking of? So take some time and figure out, are there other competitors in this field, right? Or are there alternatives that might be better than this option that you're looking at right now? Other up and coming versions of this company, maybe a startup, or maybe an established company that's already doing this, and maybe they've been in the game longer and they have a bigger bank and a better capability to accomplish what this potential company is already doing or trying to do. So just think about that and see if it fits this profile that you're trying to build in your investment portfolio. Number 7, does this company perform well in one field only or many fields? So I think of companies as the opportunity to own and then also expand the level of reach I have in different industries. So when I pick companies individually, I look for companies that do well in multiple fields. The company you're looking at, is that something where they have one stable horse, one thing that they're counting on to make the whole company flourish? Or are they diverse in their endeavors and they have strengths in different areas? To me, that's something to look more into. If they have multiple strengths, then now you have something going. So I tend to avoid companies that are just only good on one thing. No one-trick ponies is essentially what I'm trying to say. Number 8, is there anything unique about this company? And it could be from some of the patents they probably own or the CEO that's running the company. Sometimes companies do specifically well because of who's in charge. It could be any product, but if you have the right person in charge, that can make or break the company, right? We've seen companies rise and fall based off of messages on social media that the CEO might post or scandals that erupt and the stock starts to tumble. So these type of things are what you need to consider when you're looking at these investments. What's unique about it? If it's not the CEO, is there something else about the company that stands out and is worth you holding it long term? Number 9, are there some political or geographical concerns that are going to make this investment better or worse? So there are some companies where some of their products are dependent upon, let's say, natural resources of a different company or country. And those dependencies have a lot to do with how this company is going to perform. So if, for example, I want to own a lithium ion company, but I understand that certain aspects of lithium or certain aspects of a lithium ion battery can only be found in certain areas of the world, and there's political tension or there are tariffs and sanctions, then maybe that's something that I have to either be prepared for when I buy or I step away from and look at a different investment. So think about these things when you're buying individual stocks, because some of these are short-term in nature and some of them are long-term in nature. These are long-term issues or there are things that will pass, and maybe these are buying opportunities. And number 10, my last question, are other companies willing to buy it? If you buy an individual company or individual stock, are other companies that are bigger looking to buy this company out? So we are talking about mergers and acquisitions. It's usually a good sign. If a company is going to be bought by another company, then that means it's attractive in the sense and that someone wants to own it. Someone else wants to own it, and that should normally boost the value. So if you ask yourself, am I buying a stock that another company would be willing to buy? If you can say yes, then you're checking a box that, hey, this might be something you may be willing to court. So what are some questions that you would ask, questions that I haven't already given you? What would you ask before you buy a stock? I'd love to know in the comments below. If this is something that you're brand new to, or you're trying to figure it out, or maybe you're ready to buy the stock, then check out my other video on how to open up an account and you be able to just put this in action. And last but not least, stay present.